This Filip Hrgovic situation really is a sorry state of affairs. The amount of fighters who have turned down the opportunity to face Hrgovic in a final eliminator is just getting ridiculous now. To be fair, with Tony Yoka, he apparently ostensibly wanted the fight and was willing to take it, but he did have some type of deal in place with Martin Bakole, and his team have taken exception to Yoka trying to go in a different direction and fight Hrgovic. And that apparently is the reason why Yoka can't go through with that particular fight and is going to have to reschedule the Bakole fight, which isn't a bad fight in itself, but I'm sure we all would have preferred the Hrgovic fight. So now the IBF have gone down the list and they have offered the Hrgovic fight to Andy Ruiz and also to Murat Gassiev. As far as I'm aware, please correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't read this from an official source, but this is something I've heard. I've heard that Gassiev is injured and therefore he's turning down the fight. Isn't Gassiev, he's not promoted by Sauerland, is he? Why do I feel like he had some type of association with Sauerland before? I don't know. But obviously we know that Hrgovic is co-promoted by Sauerland. So if they were both with Sauerland, it would make the fight easier. But who knows what's going on there. As far as Andy Ruiz, he's a PBC fighter. They don't tend to let their guys go in there against really dangerous opponents unless there is a massive incentive for them to do so. And I'm talking about really dangerous opponents who are with rival promoters and rival networks. They don't tend to allow them to do that unless there's a massive incentive. And in this case, I can't imagine there is a massive incentive. Where is Sauerland going to come up with the money to pay the likes of Andy Ruiz, who has had some monster paydays in his career thus far? Where are they going to get the money for that? Because the money that they offered Michael Hunter was chicken change. Andy Ruiz wouldn't even get one leg out of bed for that type of money. Now, obviously, I'm not expecting them to only offer Andy Ruiz the kind of money they offered Michael Hunter, but nevertheless, to get anyone to step in the ring with someone as dangerous as Filip Hrgovic, you're going to need to pay top dollar. You're going to need to pay Andy Ruiz the kind of money that he would get for a world title fight, in all honesty, to step in there against Filip Hrgovic. So let's see what happens. I would be amazed if Andy Ruiz actually took the fight. Now, when he was still with ESPN and he was in obscurity, then at that stage, I could have seen him taking the Filip Hrgovic fight. Andy Ruiz is a warrior. But right now, you've got Al Haymon, who has massive influence over his career, the way it's managed and what have you. And because of that, I just don't see it happening. I hope I'm wrong. You know them ones, just like with the Tony Yoka Filip Hrgovic fight. When we thought we were going to get that, I was so happy to be wrong because I didn't expect Tony Yoka's team to allow it. And same situation here. I would love to be wrong. I would love PBC to turn around and say, yep, we'll let Andy Ruiz fight Filip Hrgovic, no problem at all. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Will it happen, or will the IBF keep on having to go down the line and pick somebody else? You see, this is the thing about the IBF, as opposed to the other sanctioning bodies, is they expedite their mandatories much more quickly than the other sanctioning bodies. And they're serious about it. They enforce mandatories. I like that about them, you know, but because they're like this, because they're very strict about their rules and they want to get their mandatories done as quickly as possible, you get a lot of fighters turning down their mandatories, you know, because the IBF just don't care about anybody's plans. They're coming straight in to enforce their mandatories no matter what you think you're doing in your career. So that leads to this kind of thing. I mean, when Kell Brook was IBF welterweight champion several years ago, you had a similar situation there where multiple people were turning down the opportunity to fight Kell Brook in a mandatory challenge. So, you know, that is what that is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If Andy Ruiz did decide to take the Hrgovic fight, if a miracle occurred, how do you see that fight going? Do you think Ruiz would beat Hrgovic, or do you think Hrgovic would have enough, to get the win over Andy? Let me know.